Hey, so, right. As Daphne Oxenford used to say, are you sitting comfortably? Then we shall begin. Hello, folks. This is our last one before September. Hasn't time gone fast? Anyway, back to today. I hope to uh, amuse and inform you about something which we're going to do today. This is photo reporting, or if you are a something reportage. This was began, but not began. This was one of the big people who started it was a chap called Henri Cartier Bresson. He was born in 1908 and died in 2004. Some would say a good age of 96. He was known and very well as the godfather of street photography. He was the man who really brought it forth, you know, and one of those who started the book called Magnum, which a few street photographers did as well. Anyway, I'll show a few photographs of his first. But what I'm going to use him as a kind of a jump off point to show a large number of different photojournalists, photographitists. And here is the man himself, Henri Cartier Bresson.
Mm. Okay.
And one of his photographs, which is Jean Paul Sartre pictured there. Interesting chap, as you will all know.
Ray, who was that?
Jean Paul Sartre.
Oh, yeah.
I just find 654. Right. And next. Oh, yes, this one. It is in such a big book that I don't know if it'll come out, but I'd like to show it anyway.
Be back later, okay?
Okay.
Visual and after a quick drink, and
Okay.
I'll nip into Waitrose and get the magazine.
Okay. Good luck with the blood test.
Ah,
Marion, mute yourself, please. Hello.
Can you see that person there, that picture there? Yeah. Everybody see it? That was amusingly enough, that was a eunuch who was served at the court of the Dowager Empress in Beijing in 1948. It's a quizity person. If you wish to see more of his work, there are lots of photographs online. You just put in Henri Cartier Bresson, and there is so much in there, you know, that you really don't need me to do lots more pictures of them. But this is a picture which has given me enormous joy, and I think you will probably see why. There's a little lad there. Yeah. This was, I had a lad smiling there. It can't be more than 7 or 8, but it was taken in 1951. And he's proudly wearing his first NHS spectacles. I just think that is that as I say again is just absolutely lovely. Yeah, it looks a bit like me when I was that age.
Yes.
It also very very historical. It's a time thing, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Got a lovely face.
Yeah.
I had glasses like that. I remember just like that.
Ah.
So,
And here is another historical one. Anyone know who that is?
Lloyd George.
It's that man there. That's Keir Harding,
Oh,
leader of the Labour, founder of the Labour Party in his time.
of course.
And the name Keir is nothing like the pale imitation that is leader of the Labour Party at the moment. Oh, yes. This picture from the Picture Post got more complaints when it was put out than any other photograph that they've done. See that?
I remember when that was very shocking. Yes.
That got so many complaints that the Picture Post had to kind of apologize to a number of people for a woman showing her bottom bits.
And who was it, Ray?
It is not known
Oh,
who it was because they refused to actually say who it was. This one here, which I find is absolutely delightful.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That I put down as two little lads walking down the street, going shopping for mum, which I thought was which I thought actually was just remarkable. You know, that kind of 1930s type of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is that picture was taken from the Gorbals in Glasgow in 1948. Sorry,
Right.
that sounded a bit more, but
and Ray,
yes,
it
yes,
looks like it's in the snow with shorts on.
yes. I think it's probably in the winter, but
I remember in general practice seeing a child with chilblains on his knees because he had to wear shorts in the winter at school. Had to.
Little boys were seen as looking odd if they wore long trousers before they were about 11. Isn't that right? As I remember it, you know.
Yeah,
I was a girl, so I didn't. But all the boys had short trousers, and then the big deal was when they were allowed to go into the long trousers.
yeah.
Yeah, it must have been cold.
But that. Sorry, let me bring it out a bit more. No, cancel that one. It won't work.
Oh.
But it's got a lady with the old, the wraparound pinny, looking down at this lad, and this lad's looking up, going, "I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but then it's just very funny."
Show us that one again, Ray. Now you've explained what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I don't think I can get the little boy in because it's on one of those.
I didn't spot a boy in there at all. I just saw the two women leaning over.
Yeah.
I thought they were chatting to each other.
It's because it's quite near the fold, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the problem about it, isn't it? It's let me see if I can look at that a bit more. Can you see the little boy?
Oh yes, I can.
Yes, now.
Having a gossip, yeah, yes, over the fence.
That just to me that it's kind of, oh, what's she saying, Mum?
Oh, thank
Just
you.
absolutely lovely. Now I've missed where I am. Yep, we're going shopping, maybe. Right. One of America's more famous photographers at the time was a woman called Dorothea Lange, who produced one of the iconic photographs, which I'll show you in a moment. And she got rather cross because it was used so often that she got, you know, the bloke who sang the Streets of like Dominic Towers, who sang the Streets of London song. Let me take you around. And he said he got so fed up with that, you know, that he did what it said. This is one that Dorothea Lange did. You remember the picture?
No, I don't remember it.
No. This is one of a woman who, in the times of the Depression, was was one of the pea pickers. And one season, when the peas were just about to be harvested, it froze, so they couldn't do them. And they only get paid if they pick. They don't get paid if they don't. So they were living on vegetables and, as the comment says, vegetables and birds that the children found, which is quite remarkable in that sense, you know. And the just a worry on her face, and the children who aren't even looking at the camera is just very evocative of those times.
Yeah.
It's one of the most famous of the reportage reporting that it just had. Yeah, here you go. Another one she took, which is not so famous, but I will tell you about that one. It's let's say the plantation owner. He's the chap there.
Yeah.
And he was paying them to work, and he only paid them $1 a day if they worked. And unfortunately, they were only managed to work 190 days in that year. So they got paid $190 for that year, which is a little sad. I think that probably the plantation owner got huge amounts more, but as he was employing black people, it was thought of as okay to do that type of thing.
Mm. And that, which photographer was that again, Ray?
Dorothea Lange.
Right, okay.
And this is one which will make friends amused. That's this building, which is being painted. This, as you can see, it's a Quaker meeting house.
Is it in construction?
It's in construction. They constructed it. They were just there painting the front.
Right.
Which, when I come across it, I thought, oh, that has to go into the thing. You know, this is a photograph taken between 1942 and 45. She isn't sure when she took it, but it's about during the Second World War. A lot of people were interred if you were if you had German origin, if you had Japanese origin, you got interred in camps. And these are two young Japanese chaps who got interred because you're Japanese, therefore you must be anti-American, and
Yeah.
Ray,
Yes,
you're showing photos by other photographers.
yeah.
So who's that one?
These photographs are by a woman called Dorothea Lang.
Okay.
The last few. If you want, I can tell you who does them as I go along.
Yeah, as we go along. Thanks. I didn't realise. I thought it was all Cartier Bresson.
Yeah, that's great.
Which I will endeavour to try. Right. Have a bit of paper. Next, Hattie, I shall show you a couple of pictures of a chap, an English photographer. It's called Bill Brandt. He was quite known well in England at the time for a lot of his photographs. And again, he is quite, you can see him on lots of books and things like that. Not so much these days because not too remembered. But Bill Brandt was born of an English father and a German mother and moved to London in 1934. This needs to kind of, I think, needs to be a kind of, this is English, gore blimey, because it is that type of thing from the East End of London. And this is a very sprightly young lass with her mates.
I can only see legs.
Just a minute. Let me look. There you go.
Yeah.
You see her and her mates going. That's and you can see her hand as she lifts up part of her skirt and goes, kind of nearly look at me type of thing,
Yeah.
And this is a very, very, very English type of East End Cockney gall blimies. And these are two which I think were quite remarkable. They are of the north and the coal mining country, and one of them is quite symptomatic of the mining as it really was. You see, he hadn't had a bath or anything before settling down to his meal, because you can see the blackness of his face and his hands, and this is really what coal mining was like, not some kind of other stories which were of those times. This is real kind of.
Oh, lost your internet.
Kind of real coal mining. Pardon? You've lost the internet.
We lost you pretty well straight after you'd shown the photo.
Right. Can you see me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you now.
Jolly good. Yes, it was my internet is supposed to be fails occasionally, which is a little annoying. So you heard me speak about this chap here.
Yeah.
The next one I'll show you is this one here. Look at that.
Ah, golly.
That is
so well known, isn't it?
Oh yes. That is the chap. As it's a coal mining, and that man is pushing sacks of what is classed as small coal. It's what he spent the whole day at the slag heaps where they put all the road coal. He spent the whole day picking up bits of coal. which is quite, which tells you something a bit about that type of thing, doesn't it? Really,
Yeah. I remember reading How Green Was My Valley, and that made a big impression on me as well. But I seem to remember then when Green Was My Valley, though, they had the bath. The woman used to make them have the bath outside before they came in to have their tea.
Or it wasn't a lot of fun around those times. Yeah, they seemed to have things. There was a kind of community, which supported each other, and and I found that quite remarkable.
Yeah.
All together in adversity type of thing. This is one which right. It just lost me place for a moment. Yes, this is one which I found quite remarkable, but it's of Germany in the around 1938-40, and it's a bit horrible.
Oh,
Do you know what that is?
yes, they're trying to see if his nose weren't a particular size, it meant he was a different race. Would
Yeah,
it be
it's a start of eugenics in the eugenics were just at the start of the Second World War, and the Germans in that sense wanted an Aryan race, which was perfect in every way. And this bloke was, having his, as you say, having his measured to see whether he could be part of the race or not. So that one is.
So who's that by, Ray?
It is not known, basically, because it is such a controversial subject that a few people who it said what it was by have denied anything that it could be them, because well, most of these I can give you people who photographed them, but sometimes it just says American or British, or but this is the statement on the photograph. This is by a photograph by a chap called Lewis W. Hine, Hine, and you would think that this could be England, it could be anywhere like that. That's a woman, a young lass, who is at the cotton factory, and they used to use young children because, as they knew in the past in the English factories, young children's fingers are a lot more nimble than adults. Therefore, children were used in the cotton factories quite a lot. Girls and boys. This is a girl. So that girl there is 12, and she's rather old to be doing that type of thing at the moment. Then and at it time.
Ray,
Yes.
do you think she has a head covering?
No, she hasn't.
Oh, right, I can't tell.
That is her hair.
right?
they used to be able to go underneath. Smaller children would go underneath there to pick up stuff which was in there. The dust from the cotton affected their lungs and all things like that. Now here's one which is slightly odd, and it just says Sarajevo, January 28, 1914, Sarajevo. And why is that man so important that they're trying to capture? There is a reason for that, and I've covered up a bit here so you can't see it. So the famous picture, it went around the world within weeks. It just shot around the world.
Yes.
The reason for that is that chap is a person called, guess his name, Galvelzo Principe. You might know this man, but
Mussolini.
Pardon?
Was that Mussolini?
No, he's the man who shot the Archduke Ferdinand,
Right.
and therefore virtually started the First World War.
Yeah. It was Il Principe which rang a bell for me, but that yeah.
Yeah, so he's a man who started. It's the start of the First World War when he shot Ferdinand because the Germans were quite cross, and the English said ha 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 ha, and it all kicked off, as the phrase goes.
So, Ray, in that picture, is there
Yeah.
somebody being arrested?
Yeah, let me show you.
I can't really make that out. The
See
guy
man-
on the left with the white shirt sleeves.
See the man, point my finger at him.
Oh, leaning forwards.
Yeah, he's been arrested.
Oh, right, because there's a soldier with his two people with swords, and they're looking to their left. Oh, right.
Yeah. Because they're looking to the left because over just outside of the picture is Archduke Ferdinand dead in his coach.
Ah.
Right. Yes, of course.
So that was the reason. That was as that picture then became another big thing which went around the world as someone shut the Archduke type of thing. Because the Archduke was famous in trying to encourage people to get together. That lot. This is another one which is quite famous. It is titled October the 25th, 1917, Petrograd. It's a storming of the Winter Palace by what would be classed as the peasants. They're all there going to attack the Winter Palace, i.e. the start of the Russian Revolution. Another one. These are famous ones from around the world.
Brilliant picture though, isn't it? Very evocative.
Yeah. This one is amazing in its different sense, which I shall talk to afterwards. And you obviously know who that is, Mr. Lenin. But the two people who are here and here, that man there is obviously Trotsky. And the man above him is a man who came in the train along with Lenin and was part of the group, the first of the group. And his name is Kemirov. And Kemirov split with Lenin and disappeared. No one knows where he went or where his grave was or anything like that. He just disappeared. Trotsky, of course, was with Lenin for quite a time. really up to the times of Stalin. And then Stalin thought that Trotsky could be a rival to him for the head of the party. And so made sure that lots of things were told about Trotsky which weren't quite true. And Trotsky said, must have thought time to leave, and went off into hiding, and was found many years later by a few of Stalin's people and was assassinated. So life went on, but things
Not for
things changed. Sorry, David.
The life went on, but not for Trotsky.
This is true. Yes, I think it was a nice pick or something, which done to him. Right. This is one which also, as the phrase goes, became enormously famous. Yum-ba-da. America.
Right.
October 24th, 1929, this was. And the Americans called it Black Thursday, because that's a Wall Street exchange. And as you know, it was called the Wall Street crash, where thousands of people lost all their money. And there are pictures, which I haven't got, sadly, I would have showed them, of men jumping out of the windows at the big tower, which is beside them. If you see that big tower, which is beside Wall Street there, they started leaping out from there because they'd lost all their money. It was a really horrible time for America in that time, indicated a big 20th century depression. 1929. It wasn't good for a bad day for a lot of Americans. And one thinks of as in the Trumpian thing of today, where the Wall Street is going like that, and millions of Americans are now poorer, now a lot poorer, because of the removing of Medicaid, Med-Aid, as in a lot of pensions from a lot of places, and a lot of people being fired from their jobs in the government. It's all starting to get pretty knife edge at the moment, I would say. But whether we see anything coming of that, hopefully we will. But there you go. Now this is one which I think is one of the most depressing pictures I had, because it really doesn't take too much to understand what is going on here. It's 1943 and it's Warsaw in Poland. That's just such a sad picture, I think, that you think, yeah. But that wasn't this picture wasn't released to most publications, wouldn't put it out until the start of the Second World War, when they said, that this is happening. We have to do something about this. Very sad picture.
It's dreadful, actually, to see children with their hands up.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
It's one of those, you think, No, this is not good.
No.
But this one, how many people as teenagers had pictures of this man up on their bedroom wall?
I'm too old.
Yeah.
That was obviously Che Guevara, and it was a photograph by a chap called Alberto Corda.
Brilliant photo.
He was the amusing thing is that he came from a very, very good family, and went to their equivalent of the high school and all this lot, but then discovered the chap from what was he? Cuba, the chap from Cuba, and went on to join him in the Cuban Revolution, and became quite famous for standing beside Fidel Castro and being part of the Cuban Revolution. But that's why his face is nearly everywhere.
Yeah.
Now this one, I think, is just dead creepy. Although the Diana Arbus, ARBUS, who took the photograph, said that she didn't want it to be creepy. She just was an American child photographed in a different way. But look at this. What do we think? What do folks think about that?
What is it he's got behind him?
He's got a hand grenade in one of his hands.
Sorry, a hay.
And
Tree.
Hand grenade. A toy hand grenade, of course.
Is it grenade in both hands
No.
or an apple in one?
Look at that hand.
Yeah.
It's
An apple?
no, it's deformed. It just has a deformed.
Can't hear you, Ray.
It has a deformed.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
No,
Can
nor
anybody
Luke.
hear me?
yeah, when you've got a book in front of you, your voice gets obscured.
Right. He has a deformed hand.
Oh, bless him.
Oh, so it's not an apple.
No, no. It's surprising really, because even his I think his expression looks a little,
Oh,
it's one of those pictures where you think, what do I think about this picture? Is it
Yeah.
because Diane Abbott says this is an ordinary picture of an inhabitant of New York, and I think, no, it's not. But then again, I may be wrong there.
and did you say Diane Evans?
ARBUS, Abbas.
Yeah, bless.
Diane or Diana?
DIANE.
Thank you.
And Abbas says photographs communicate the interactions between the photographer and the subject through their intense, articulate, and wealth of information about both individuals. In this image, we're given a clear sense of the frustration the boy is feeling. Now, if you don't recognize this picture, you've been living in a cave somewhere all your life. Who be that? And let us say, I have a dream.
Oh, yeah.
That's
God. God,
that's
there's names in it.
that's Martin Luther King
Yeah.
giving his speech, kind of I have a dream and all that type of thing,
Yeah.
And there at that rally, there are over 200,000 people. That's pretty crowd,
Yeah.
Uh, that's more than any other president would have got at any time. He was just so charismatic when he spoke, and
Yeah.
even nowadays when I hear him, give that speech, it's nearly goosebumpy time again, because he is so powerful. He is so uh, emotionally bound that you go, goodness me, that's a staggering speech. But it's what we have these days. What things can do. Those things can do to us.
Mm. I saw the film of his life. I can't remember what it was called, but it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Very moving story.
Now, this is one picture which the Chinese tried to ban because they thought, no, you can't see that. No, nothing happening here. Move on, folks. But it did escape from China and went around the world. There's Tiananmen Square. And the bloke there is standing in front of the tanks as they roll in. And he's not moving. When the tanks try to move one way, he moves that way as well. And it is accredited to a chap called Jeff Widener. That's Jeff Widener, and is attributed to him. And it's June the 5th, 1989. It's kind of a photograph which I would have said, which is one of the photographs which changed the world, because once you saw it, you thought, no, this is oppression. This is what oppression is about, and this is what that man stood there. I couldn't have done it, so I think he was a blinging hero, for actually standing there and going, I'm not moving. This is what I believe, and I'm not moving. It's a photograph which is enormously powerful.
Mm. Mm. Do you know? Sorry. Do you know where? Is there an original? Well, another picture of it anywhere, like photographic museum or something?
Not that we know of. That's the one.
It's very good,
Yeah.
So that's the sort of one I would put on my wall now. I think it will give me courage,
Mm-hmm.
Terrific.
Yes, it is. It's a picture which says, you can do something, even if no one else does. If you have enough courage, you can, and belief, that is what you do, type of thing.
Yeah.
This picture gave joy to, I think, enormous numbers of people, and I think it doesn't need too many words. That Nelson Mandela being released from Robben Island, as he's walked to freedom, with obviously Winnie standing beside him.
You're muffled when you're behind the book, Ray.
I'm sorry, David. Yes, you'd said that before, and I apologise. That picture is of Nelson Mandela and Winnie Mandela, who'd been at the gates. It is him coming down the road from Robben Island.
Yeah,
It is one of those photographs again, which, Mandela, who was in prison for a long time and didn't rant and rave, and just said, I'm here. Which is an enormously powerful picture.
Yeah.
Excuse me for a moment. This one, I will show it to you, and as David says, I shall speak to it afterwards.
You can speak to the side.
Look at that. Have we seen it?
Yeah.
And now I will tell you about it, because this again was something said for Hattie. It was a man called Matt, M-A-T-T, Heron, H-E-R-R-O-N, and it was taken in 1970. Beadsville, a working-class town in Ohio, lost many sons in the Vietnam War, proportionally than any community in the United States. According to a telegram his parents received from the Pentagon, Rick Ruckner, aged 19, was killed by a friendly rocket while storming a Vietcong bunker. Friendly rocket means he was killed by an American rocket. His father later learnt that there was no Vietcong in the bunker, just a bunch of guys sitting around a latrine area, when some American somehow accidentally blew them up. They were going to the loo. Nothing more than that. In 1970, more than half the Americans who died in Vietnam were killed by their own side. Friendly fire. Or in accidents. Here, Betty and Kenneth Ruckner stand outside their home with the decorations awarded to Rick. I think that is just America at its worst.
Yeah.
And I have one left, two left, sorry. This one, I hummed and hawed and thought very hard about whether I should show this, because it makes me mad. It really does. I think it's about one of the most controversial, to me, pictures in my collection. Can you see what's written on that poster?
Don't you wish you were white?
Nigger, don't you wish you were white?
Nigger, yeah.
It's just disgraceful. And as I say, I hummed and hardly whether I should include that, but I think it is so controversial, so nasty that no, it has to be shown. And just to cheer you up at the end of that, because I've shown some really, really not niceties. Here's one. You see that? Anyone know?
Oh, yeah, it's the
Very silly, very silly. It's called the Cottenham Fairies. And it was a little girl, two young girls in the village of Cottingham borrowed a camera and took a few photographs that taped directly into England society's borderline perverse fascination with fairies. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle certified the picture as authentic. Matters as we have known is not really the limit to our universe, he said.
Mm.
In 1993, the naughty Elsa fessed it up. The fairies were cutouts. And I just think that's lovely that anyone could get, because a lot of people did. They were they were conned nearly into believing that type of thing happened, which I just thought was very, very, very funny. And
It is very convincing, isn't it, initially?
yes, it's one of those where you think, it's fun. But I, as I said to Patsy earlier, I spent quite a longer time than I spent. Oops, song's gone. I spent another time trying to decide what to use and what not to use, as I have a very large amount of photographs of all those types, and I had a book of that someone had given to me on Bristol ones, and I thought I could use that, but that would mean removing others that I thought might be. And you'll be surprised to know, I've run to time. I aim to finish at 5 to 10 to, and it's 5 to, which leaves us a few minutes if anyone wants to say anything.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. We'll have to go to a lot of trouble to find those, and they really speak, don't they? Those photographs that speak to you.
Yeah, some of them are horrible ones, and also the lovely ones, like the two little boys walking down the road, which I just thought was joyful. It was, the kind of, this is life in the Gorbals, and though it may be very hard, they can still smile and go, we're going shopping. Lovely. And the little boy with the glasses, because that's the NHS and how much it changed people's lives vastly than we'd ever know. That just think, if we had to pay for it nowadays, if we pay for a doctor or dentist, or because we had a bad leg or something, and we had to pay to go and see the doctor.
Yeah.
Take out your own teeth, that people are doing now sometimes. But there you go. That's me. I'm rambling again, but I will stop now and say if anybody else wants to say anything.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Interesting.
Yeah. No, it was very interesting.
I had no idea that you were so interested in photographs.
Yes, it's one of my little sidelines.
Yeah.
But I just find them fascinating. It's this thing of life. As I say to people, if you've got a bunch of photographs and you've got some friends who come by and they look at the photographs, and it'd be an afternoon's entertainment. It was kind of, oh yeah, you remember when you did that? Uncle Frida wore that horrible hat, and things like that. And people sit around and discuss them, for hours.
Yes.
There's a sign which had just come up on my computer which says, do you want to change what you're speaking into English? And I thought, am I that at enunciating? No. But there you go.
No, I have a lot of concerns over my two daughters, because one of them, she's what do they call it? A minimalist. She's a minimalist, and the other one, like me, tends to collect. And I'm wondering what to do about my considerable collection of family photographs, because they won't like it if I give them all to one and not to the other. But if I divide them up, I'm reasonably sure that half of them will then, well, I don't know what will happen, but I don't believe in minimalism.
Will be minimized.
Sounds
Sorry,
like we
David?
should talk about it.
Well, the minimalist daughter might minimize the photographs.
Such an word about it.
You give them half each with a stipulation that if one of them doesn't want them, they give them to the other.
Yes, yes. Mind you, before I can do that, I've got to go through them, and I've got rather a lot of box files full of photographs. But I do agree, it's a lovely thing to go over your photographs with people. Yes, they're very enjoyable.
Have you got many photographs, Marion?
I've got there are perhaps sort of several different collections.
Ah,
There's the old photographs, many of which I've taken to the Wiener Holocaust Library,
uh-huh.
um, of my parents, from my parents' era. There's also 6 albums that I haven't taken there, which is sort of the things that my mother sort of told me what they were. And I've sort of kept those by. Maybe they'll go to the Wiener Holocaust Library when I'm dead, or maybe they'll go to Anna. And then there's several albums of Anna when she was a baby. And I think when she was probably about 5, we completely lost any ability to kind of put things into albums. I've got too busy, and there are stacks and stacks of photos in packets in various boxes. And then since things have been we take photos with our camera, they're just on my camera, and I haven't done anything with them. And there's one or two exceptions to that, and that is a couple of photo books made by my son-in-law.
Oh,
So the kind of complete random
random selection.
selection of all of these, and I don't really know what to do about them at all.
You've obviously got pictures of you and Mike.
Yes, but they're not apart from in the photo book that Robin made me for my 80th birthday. There's some of him in there, but there isn't really a proper collection of those. And there isn't really a proper collection of Mike's stuff. I started on a biography, but life has just swept in and overtaken other things. And as time goes by, I kind of think, will I ever do that? So yes, it's a problem really.
Mm, mm, mm. Yes, I've been asked a couple of times, are you writing your biography? And I said, if I have the time and actually settle down and write it,
Yeah.
that is a hard bit. It's actually spending the time by yourself to write those things. And no, I just like yourself haven't had the time, or in my case, inclination.
Yeah, I mean it's difficult to kind of keep a thread going as well. So
Hattie.
Yeah, a friend of mine actually did a course in writing memoirs, and that's what's propelled her. So she is actively writing her. She's in the editing stage now, so she's got a lovely editor from New York and spends time online each month and adjusts the memoirs. It's not going to be very long, she thinks, but she wants to have it very right before she releases it. And it will be successful. But I mean, her writing is just marvelous. Yeah.
You're not being tempted yourself.
Me? Oh, I can't write for a toffee. The comments that teachers have made on my writing is not to be repeated.
Yeah, this is I'm just fascinated at the moment. But with one book that I'm reading, and it's this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing. He's witty. He's awkward to people. He can be a bit nasty as well, but a lot of it is just pure joy. But one of those things. Right. Well, that, dear friends, is us until September. We're all going to go off and have a break and do marvelous things.
Well, thanks.
Well, I have to say thank you to Patsy
Yes.
and David for all this hard work. It's just brilliant. I mean, I know we're a small elite group, and it's sad that we can't persuade other people to join us. But there you go. Oh, sad. But I think I love coming to these talks. I'm just addicted.
Thank you.
Well,
I very much like the idea that people can go and look at
Yeah.
talks later on. But one of the things that we need to talk about, soon is, I mean, at the moment they're all on David's YouTube account. Is that right, David?
sure, yes.
Yeah. And so were anything to happen to David, we would lose a lot. So
All right.
we really need an account or a YouTube account for central meeting or area for area meeting. We could have it, couldn't we?
It is possible to download YouTube videos, so it could be recreated, but it's a bit of a hassle. And it's possible to transfer them, but you lose things like comments and some of the other stuff. So we have yet to figure that out. I think it's just imagine this. We're not the only group who has this issue. So there are other people working on trying to solve this to make our temporary records more permanent.
Well, I think I've already sent the 3 videos that we've got. I've sent them to my friend and colleague in Africa. So, they've gone a bit wider.
Thank you.
So
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
and I'm also, it's still on my mind, although I seem to be beset by hundreds of other things at the moment, it's still on my mind to make a special video for her. I've talked to David about this, but I haven't actually got round to A, checking the notes that it's going to be based on, and B, checking whether it would still be useful for my African colleague.
Yeah,
So it's still in my mind, David.
well, we can all experiment with making a record. Don't necessarily have to write a book. The modern day thing may be to create a visual record that other people can find, and it's very easy to just talk to camera, as it were.
Yeah.
We will keep exploring these things. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
So it could be a pre-recorded talk, Marion.
Yeah.
You
For
mean,
us.
sorry?
You could make a pre-recorded talk for us to have a look at 11 o'clock on a Friday.
Mm.
Well, I think the material is actually already. I think it might be in one of them already. But if it isn't, then to kind of double up could be a good idea. But this was a rather specific thing that would probably not be. I don't know. It would be talking through the notes for the anger management work. That's what I would be doing.
We all have anger.
Yes. I'll have to think about whether it could double up.
Great.
Or maybe when it's done, we'll look at it and think, would it be of interest to the 11 o'clock crowd? Or not?
Or wider.
Nowadays we're global, aren't we?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, thanks for bringing us to a photo finish, Ray.
Yes.
Right, yeah, nice one.
And the other thought I have is some kind of index or list of all
Oh yeah.
the talks that are up on the YouTube. I have copies of Patsy's May list of talks, but that's a separate document to another one from April's talks. Anyway,
Well, there is a list because under every one of these talks in the notes, there is a link to the cumulative playlist. And if you click on that, you can scroll through all the talks there have ever been.
oh yes, okay, thank you.
It's pleasure.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Well, Patsy, David, and I are going to have now
Oh yes. Okay.
a talk on procedures
Yeah.
going on with that. Though you can stay, but
No, I do have a heap of things that I have to do,
I
so
thought you
I'll
might
leave you
have
to it.
them.
Okay, thank you very much, Ray.
Lovely, thank you.
Thanks very much, David.
Okay.